Good morning. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Good morning, Lady Swag. Okay, so guys, listen. I know that's right. You know that's Jaheim coming through. Camille, hey, beautiful. Good morning, beauty is my name. That's Aries, Roxy. What's good, boo? So y'all listen. I was listening to another content creator this morning. He was reporting on a story where this lady had gotten mad at a KFC and went ham and started shooting. And I can remember whenever I first got my first job, my mom would always tell me, um, I don't care where you work because I've always been in the medical field. She said, I don't care whether it's at a nursing home, hospital, or whatever. Always be friendly and nice to the people that are in the kitchen and that deals with the food. And ever since she said that, then I've always taken that with me because honestly, I've always worked 11 to 7 shift. And upon coming on the job, I will always come in, speak with the nurse manager, get really chummy with them, always be respectful of the staff that was coming in the morning cooking the breakfast, so I can get me a good plate before I get ready to go home, right? And I said, and not okay, not for nothing. I have seen them be very, very, very nasty, and I heard them make comments like, okay, now she being nasty, but what if I drop her meat on the floor and give it to her like that? I'm like, you know what? That's some sick stuff. But anyway, that's what people do. And I said, okay, so back to the story. The lady got mad because they left out a fork and some napkins. The person had already said that she was rude coming up through the drive or whatever. She was already nasty. First of all, I'm not gonna be nasty to anybody. Number one, I can't see. I can't see who's cooking my food. I can't see who's boxing it up or whatever or preparing. So I'm like, okay, why would I be nasty from the door? That's just leaving me open for them to be low down and do whatever they want to do to my food and then give it to me. I'm going home eating on the shit that they don't stomped on, stepped on, spit on, or whatever, and they gave it to me because I was being nasty. Now, she done got pissed off. She came pissed off from what they said. She came pissed off. And upon not receiving her napkin and her fork, she got mad. It was a little confrontation at the drive-thru and she started shooting. Now, ma'am, I don't know what kind of chemical imbalance you had going on. I don't know who pissed you off before you came to KFC. Some people didn't ask for that. You chose to go there and get your food. It's humanly possible to make a mistake and leave some stuff out. I know that sometimes I get mad if I don't get napkins and a fork. And I'm like, really? So you was just that mad enough to start shooting up in this restaurant? I said, no. What and what's going on with this situation? Suppose you had to hit somebody. Because if you don't know, exactly, if you don't know how to properly handle that weapon, it's easy for a straight bullet to hit anybody. I know when I was going through weapons training, when I was becoming a correctional officer years ago, we and up until now, we still have to go and qualify every single year to make sure that we can handle all these different weapons. Now, good morning, Mama Doreen. How you, boo? And I said, for anybody to just be out there just willing nilly just shooting, thank God she didn't hit anybody. But for the mere fact that you was out there shooting and carrying on, you reckless with it. And not, man, you didn't even live in that state. You went from that. I guess you were just on a run or whatever. You're gonna pull off, the interstate, get your time to eat and keep on truck on home. Okay, so you got the food in one state and did all the shooting and shit in one state. Then you go home to your state. Okay, so and they finally tracked her down and found out where she was and arrested her or whatever. But I'm like, ma'am, I don't care how bad of a day you were having. Whoever you should have left that direct that energy to whoever you were mad at. You out there putting other people's lives in danger. Clearly, you don't know how to handle the weapon, and you out there just pulling out just willy nilly. What did you think you were going to do? What did you think you were going to accomplish? Because see, now you're sitting your behind in jail, looking crazy, and thinking about why couldn't I just go back to the moment before I decided to pull this pistol out. I said, well, whatever, honey. If that's what you choose to do, now you sit behind bars and you will be there. So anyway, y'all check this out. I was sitting over and for whatever reason, I was in Kwani's chat last night. And she went on this whole rant about Pretty Ricky Fontaine and the statements that Pretty Ricky said. Well, I don't feel like she was in the entire chat because she had it all wrong and she personalized the situation. Now, Pretty Ricky was commenting on a lot of the comments that were coming down in Fibe's chat when Portia was on telling her story. And she was like, some people are so insensitive and how they're re-victimizing the victim and so on and so forth, right? And Pretty Ricky said that a lot of people in my chat right now, she was talking about her chat right then in real time. A lot of us have experienced, she didn't even say trauma, but have experienced situations in our lives that were, for lack of a better term, traumatizing to us. Now, me, myself personally, because of the state I live in, we experience trauma all the time, whether it's hurricanes. Well, dang near every year we're going through this whole hurricane situation. But it can be anything. It doesn't have to be so traumatic to where you got hurt or someone was abused or anything like that. There are so many different types of trauma. But Kwani decided to take on and started calling her dumb and stupid. And I'm like, are you for real? Now, I'm wondering who's one that you rewatch? Pretty Ricky, because Kwani put hers on private. As soon as she got done talking, she put hers on private. And so I went back and I'm like, you were dead wrong for saying all that you said because number one, she wasn't talking to you. You gonna talk about, and she gonna try and tell me that not everyone has been traumatized. Not everyone has been. Well, first of all, if you're living on this earth, something has happened that made you feel something on the inside. Whether it was a school shooting that had nothing to do with you, whether something that happened to somebody that you didn't know, those are considered traumas. And I'm like, you really went in on Pretty Ricky, and for what? All that whole thing was unnecessary. Then you had, it may have been 120 of us in the chat, minus me. That's 119 people that's agreeing with her. And I said, now, how is it that Now, mind you, I don't even know if half of them even heard what she was saying. You took just a small section of what she said and blew it up into something that had nothing to do really with you nor what you were talking about. And for you to say, and with you being in the profession that you're in, you need to lose your job tomorrow. You need to go in tomorrow and resign. Excuse me. Now, if you were there for Five Babes chat, and if you were there for the Portia interview, and then you were there for Pretty Ricky's live, it all made sense. Because when you good morning, Miss Brooklyn, because when you were if you had been there, you would be able to follow what she was saying. Because when we were in the chat, there were a lot of insensitive comments being typed in the chat. And just like she said, it's easy to say what you woulda, coulda, shoulda done outside the situation. Outside looking in, we can all say what we and you missed it, honey. You really did miss it, and you really should go back and watch. Well, now the one with Portia is very detailed, and she good morning, Shay Johns. Um, she really went into detail. She spared nothing, because it's her story and she could tell it. But there were a lot of people in the chat, and I agree wholeheartedly with what Pretty Ricky was saying, because they were being insensitive. I mean, some of them were. They just were. And again, the woulda, coulda, shouldas on the outside looking in is easy to say if you haven't gone through it. Exactly. And okay, like I myself, when I was 18 years old, my very first boyfriend scalded me with boiling hot water over a period of 4 hours. And nothing outside looking in, hell, inside looking in. I could not have gotten out of that situation in that moment, because that was something that had never happened. He had never ever laid hands on me. He had never even threatened me. But the moment that I caught him cheating on me, and I said to myself, I didn't even tell him I was going to leave him, but I started, distancing myself from him. And of course, he felt it. He calls me, tell me that his mother wanted to see me. So I'm like, okay, let me go over here and see what she wants. Because growing up in Alabama, everybody's close knit. Everybody knows everybody. And so I'm like, okay, let me go over here and see what mama, I called her mama. Let me go over here and see, what she wants to talk to me about. Well, all that was a whole lie. That was his way of getting me out of my mom's house and over there to his house so that he could torture me. Inside, looking out, I never saw that coming. He never gave me any inclination that he would do that to me. He never, good morning, just one. He never gave me any kind of anything. And before I knew it, and it was Super Bowl Sunday, I will never forget it. The Cowboys won that year. He tortured me with boiling hot water, scalded all of my skin off. I was in the hospital for 7 weeks. And you talking about going through all the debridement, all of that. And so many people were like, well, you didn't know that he was going to do that. He was probably taking you through this and that and this and that, and you didn't know, and you should have been able to tell somebody. Well, let me tell y'all something. I didn't know. And he was one of those quiet, I mean really quiet. My dad let me start dating him. I was 15 years old. And Scooter was so quiet, mild-mannered, came from a very good family, well-to-do. And I'm thinking, okay, because he treated me like gold. He really did. When I graduated from high school, he was there, bought me a brand new Honda Prelude. And of course, me being that age, I'm young, I'm thinking, I'm doing it, and I'm thinking he was very jealous. Now I will say that he was very jealous and he was very possessive, but being the age that I was, I thought it was cute. I thought that um that was love. I really did. And as time went on, he still never gave me any reason to think that he would one day hurt me really, really bad. And I know that when I introduced him to Medea, my great grandmother, she had had a stroke and she was in bed. And I took him in to introduce her to him. And when he left out, and I told him, I said, well, because my cousin and I were getting ready to change her. And I told him, I said, well, I'll be out in just a few minutes. Well, eh, honey, exactly. Just when you can't tell me nothing about a quiet, if you're too quiet, let me tell you something. I want you to be so loud, I can hear you coming from around the corner. Now, as soon as he left out, Medea told me, she said, that boy, and she had a real tremble in the voice at this point. That boy's gonna hurt you bad one day. And you know what? After he had scalded all my skin off, now remind you, I grew up in Alabama. So he took me down this long road, put me out. I'm buck naked. It was 18 degrees that night. And good morning, Red Lace. Let me Isn't that amazing how they turn around and are more upset with you that they cheated? Girl, it's baffling to me. But and when he made me get out, I got out no problem because at least I was still alive. And he said, as I'm laying there, because I don't pass out on the field, but as I'm laying there, I could hear Medea telling me, saying the same things that she said 4 years prior to that. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. Thank God I didn't. And I'm living right now to tell the stories and got the war rooms to prove it. But I was like, so many people would always come to me and talk to me about different situations. Mom tried to make me go and see a psychologist. And I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. It happened. It's okay. Now, mind you, the family that I'm from, we have two sets of people. We have outlaws and we have law enforcement. In our family, oh, it's just a thing. And to me, I think because I was able to handle this so well because I was so young. And it happened at a time when, first of all, things like that were never heard of in the city where I was raised. It just wasn't. And I said, now, everybody's like, well, what's going to happen to him? What's going to happen to him? Girl, let me tell you something. In our family, we have law enforcement and we have outlaws. Some of them cross the line. Well, all of them are Masons. And when I tell you, when you hurt one of the girls in our family, you can pretty much hang it up. You can pretty much hang it up. I was in the hospital and I remember them coming in there, getting my dad. Rev, they about to kill him. They about to kill him. Come now, they about to kill him. Listen, they caught him, had him strung upside down in the woods, ready to skin him alive. Daddy said when he made it out there, my cousin, God in heaven knows I love my cousin. He's crazy, but I love him. He had already started to peel the boy's skin back. I said, oh my God. But let me tell you something. You are not, don't mess with the girls in the family. Do not touch, don't put your hands on them girls in this family because the men can't handle it well. I said, now, had they done something really bad to him, I don't think anybody would have known about it, but everybody was always saying, you should have known, you should have known. No, you shouldn't have known. No, I mean, because some things are much more subtle than others. And unless they're always talking about, I'm going to kill you if you leave me, I'm going to do this if you leave me, you don't know. And sometimes you do overlook a lot of things. So my heart actually went out to Portia because listening to her story, I started thinking about my story. And so I got to looking through the pictures, all the pictures that everybody took, and I was like, oh my God. And see, Red, let me tell you something. These people that we don't know initially come to us with chemical imbalances. And I can truly, I can honestly say that now looking back, Scooter was, he was, what do they call it? Oh my God, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. And the on-site of it was, Scooter was 20, and it'll come to me. But thinking about it, yeah, yeah. He suffered bad from schizophrenia, and I didn't know it. And his mom did too. And I had gone through college, yeah, now I do know. And having studied, in the medical field, okay, yeah, now I do know. But back then, I wouldn't have had an idea. I don't know anything about that. And right now, to this day, he's walking around. It's cold as I don't know what, and he walking around, no shoes on, no shirt half the time, looking crazy as hell. I said, you know what? Mm-mm-mm. I just have to shake my head and thank God that I made it through and I'm still alive to tell the story. And I was talking to mom yesterday and I was talking to her about Portia, and she was like, baby, so much is going on, so much is happening. I just thank God that you made it through. And I said, yeah, me too. And she said, raising awareness and making people pay attention to what's really going on is really one of the things that will help stop it. Now, uh, I'm glad that I survived. And my dad, he would say, baby, it's the reason why you survived. He said, because honestly, you should have been dead. And I said, well, daddy, he said, because by the time we got you to the hospital, you're already in shock. You were already in shock. And because people not used to handling those cases, trauma, they didn't know what to do. They would have to life flight me to Birmingham, to UAB. And I said, now, he said, this is by the grace of God that you made it. He said, so you are a living testimony. And I know that, and a lot of times I do tell people that I work with, because talking to patients and being as I develop a rapport with them, sometimes I will open up to them and tell them, bits and pieces of my story to make them more comfortable with me. Because a lot of times when they come to me, especially if they're um, young adults, whatever, they've gone through something and cannot handle it. They're not able to process it. They're not able to understand why this person that said that they love them would hurt them in this manner. And I said, you know what? Exactly, just one. And a lot of people would say, oh, they're searching for a pity party. It's not about pity party, because to be honest, I could talk to someone that I don't know about my situation more than I can talk to someone that I do know, because people that you don't know are not going to judge you. People that you don't know are going to take it for what it's worth and maybe be able to walk away with something that may help them. And I don't tell everybody my story, but I do. But when it's pressed upon me too, that's what I do. And so I've had so many of them just cry to me about their situation. So imagine a lot of times when they're in the hospital, the person that actually hurt them and put them there got the nerve to come and say them, don't let me be on duty. Don't let me be on duty because let me tell you something. I'm a real Virgo. I'm a real, you can't tell me anything that if it's traumatic, I feel it more than you. If it's something that happened to you and that was a great thing, I'm happier than you can be. That's just me. I take on all those feelings and I multiply it by 100, seems like. And so a lot of times when they come up there after they done hurt them, here they come in with flowers and candy and shit. And I'm sitting up there mad. I'm pissed and cannot wait to get in there to give them some medicine so that I can get him alone and just have a conversation. And I mean, a lot of times it's like, because nobody is saying what needs to be said to these people, because at the end of the day, sometimes the girls don't even press charges. Sometimes they don't even tell who did it. They don't talk about it. They clam up, they shut completely down. So a lot of times it has to be on me to share. It just does. Even now, people at home don't know the entire story. They just know bits and pieces. They know them coming to, the hospital to visit and seeing me there. Okay. 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 Listen, don't come near me. Don't listen. You're going to have to give me 500 feet. 50 feet will not do. 500. Oh, that's what it's called? Honey, is there a honeymoon phase though? Because a lot of times that's where it starts. And it never ends or doesn't end until someone is hurt very bad. Because a lot of times we don't know how to get away and when to get away. The onset of the first time, at the first time of trouble is when you really should leave. But a lot of times, especially when our feelings are involved, after then we're living on hope and we're living on prayer and we're living on, well, maybe they'll change. Maybe it won't happen again. Maybe he doesn't really love me and this is his way of expressing it. But get that, because you will be laying in a box, 10 toes pointing to the moon on a wheel in a prayer, fooling around with somebody that's crazy. You just will be, because they don't have the mental capacity to stop. They don't. You'll never be able to know what's going on in their minds. And if you don't get away, you will probably end up dead. And you know what the thing about it is? I dread to think that had it not been so severe, right, right. Had it not been so severe, would I have stayed with him? Had it not been so severe, would I have forgiven him? Because all of the skin was gone off of my face. It was gone off of my chest, breast area. The skin was gone. Third degree burns off of because he said that he was going to make it where no one else wanted to be with me. And he tried. He definitely tried. But had it not been that severe, I wonder in my mind, would I have walked away? I don't know. Because even though my dad and my mom, like my village, they showered us with an overwhelming amount of love. They showed us how to love. They showed us what love looks like. And 95% of that is what Scooter showed me. He did. He did. This was an isolated incident. And had it not been so bad, I'm wondering if I would have left. Because had all the skin not been gone off of my face, I probably could have. Well, no, there's no way in the world. I had to, yeah, even with all the skin being gone off my face, the rest of me had to be tended to. So no, there's no way I could have not gone to the hospital. Yeah, they are. They are. They're selfish, and that's what it's all about. Them wanting that one thing, which is you, that no one else has. Yet they want to run around and do anything under the sun that they're big enough to do, and dare you to even make mention of it. Now that's how I have seen it. That's how I've seen it. So I said, and I know how insensitive people can be, and I know how, you know, when you're sharing your story with people, if they haven't gone through it, they can't tell you about it. They can't tell you how to come out of it. They can't tell you what you would have, should have, could have done. They can't, because until you walked a mile in my shoes, and until you've been in that situation at that exact moment, you don't know what you would do. You don't know. And at that point, for me, that fight or flight instinct, he had to put the fear of God in me. He really had. That first pot of boiling water that he threw directly in my face put the fear of God in me. It did. He said, sit right there and don't move. And that's what I did. I sat right there and did not move, because it took and make sure that I wouldn't move. Not only did he have the water, he also had the pistol. He said it was unloaded, but I don't know. He didn't fire it, so I can't say. But I sat there because everything that was going on in my psyche right then, it led to the grave in my mind for me. So I was going to do exactly what he said. I was going to cooperate. And that's exactly what I did. I said, now, y'all, what is going on? I'm sitting up here looking at what's going on YouTube. This is foolishness. Now here is who is this? Get back. Nicole Tyler saying exclusive coming. Side chick Phi Babe exposed. Y'all know what? I'm about over that. I'm over that. I'm over it. But yeah, I said let me come on and just talk for a minute about people's insensitivity when it comes down to, if you don't want to hear it, you didn't have to listen. You didn't have to comment. And that just one, that's that control factor. And when it came down to Scooter, because let me tell you, I had something that maybe only three other girls had at the time. And so all the spoiling and all of the gifts and all of the attention, it had me brainwashed. It had me brainwashed. And right now, Dad was like, baby, don't you ever let a man fool you with all these smoke and mirrors without you being able to see the true them. I need you to be able to see what's real, because a car is something tangible. They come and go. Money is something tangible. It comes and goes. But you need to be able to see what's not there. And he was right. I needed to see what was not there because everything else was there. That crazy, you can't see that. Yeah, those smoke and mirrors, you can't just tell me. You can't tell me. And he's talking about, baby. He always says, baby, love is what love does. And love is not supposed to hurt you. Love should never manifest itself in a way that causes you to lose your life. And he's right. If you love me that much, love, and especially to the point where you want to hurt me, love me enough to leave me. Do that. Which is another reason why I've always, since that incident, I've always been so standoffish, so leery, looking at everybody with the side eye. You can't just tell me anything because it's not gonna listen, it won't stick. It's gonna go in one ear and out the other. And when I met my husband, he knew all that I had gone through because I sat him down and I told him. I showed him all the pictures and what I wasn't gonna deal with. You know, yeah, don't love me to death, love me to life. Do that for me. Love me to life. I don't ever want to love someone so hard that I would rather see them dead. Because now, if you ask my husband, he will say that sometimes I may not be all there. Now, early on in our relationship, I can say yes, because coming out of that ordeal with my very first boyfriends and then meeting my husband, now, okay, a switch has been flipped in my mind. And listen, the BS, I am not here for it at all. So he thought that he was going to be able to cheat on me and I wasn't going to do anything about it until I had to show him that I'm not that girl. I'm not the girl that you can play with like that. I'm just not her. And I caught wind that he was cheating on me with this girl that he was working with. And I called my cousin. He was a police chief at the time. And I told him what I was getting ready to do. I said, Robert, I'm getting ready to go over here because they've already told me that he's at this girl's house and I'm getting ready to go over here right now. He said, wait on me. Don't go over there without me. Me, I couldn't wait. I go over there anyway. I'm knocking on the door. The helper opened the door. Now, if I know that there could possibly be somebody on the other side of the door that could cause me bodily harm, I'm not opening that door. She opened the door. As soon as she said click, click, when I heard that knob say click, click, I barged on in, gun in hand. She runs in her kitchen and grabs a knife. I say, really? So you gonna really bring a knife to a gunfight? But anyway, I wasn't there for her. I said, but I'm not here for you. I'm here for him. And he's talking about, you just can't be busting up in people's houses. I said, you don't tell I can do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm in here. So I said, get your stuff and let's go. He got his stuff. I said, now, this is what happens when you thinking you can play with me. That's not me. This whole situation right here is not me. And it may be because of what I had already gone through. And had I not told him, he wasn't aware of what had already happened to me and what I wasn't going to take. It's not like I didn't tell him. I told him. I told him what I would do, what could happen if I found this out. Oh, baby, baby me to death. Okay. And then I had to show him. And here we are, still married, five kids later, and it is what it is. But he tells everybody that he meets, oh, not her, she don't play with her like that, man. Don't play with her like that. I tried that years and years ago before we even began to have kids. And now our oldest is 22. So don't play with her like that. And maybe that has something to do with the trauma that I went through. I don't know. But I know it's a lot of but I do believe, and at that point I believed in telling him exactly what it was. And I not only telling him, I had to show him. And now we're cool. I can't be mad about stuff I don't know about. And just like I tell him right now, I can't get mad about stuff that I don't know about. So don't make me think that something's going on. Don't ever do that. Because I don't know how I might respond. And he's talking about, oh no, because I told them then. I told them when you decided, because mind you, I have 3 professions. And when I decided to become a mortician, that man was scared to death. He's still scared to death right now. He is afraid for his life and told his mother that if anything ever happened to him, look at me first because I would have been. Man, I'm not going to bother you. I am not going to bother you. And with people knowing that I'm a mortician, do you actually believe I would be the first person they would look at? No, no. Right now, we have a whole life. We have a whole situation going on. No, sir. I'm not going to do anything to hurt you. If anything, because I know how to walk away. I know how to. I know that in my mind, I could walk away with no reservations and not look back because life is too short. I've seen it. Life is too short. And I'm not the one that's just trying to throw it away on nothing. Mm-mm. So, y'all, I felt like I felt like I needed to come in and say something about that because when I was listening to Kwani and how she was talking about Pretty Ricky Fontaine, and I'm like, girl, now you're insensitive. Now you're personalizing what was not meant for you. It wasn't. It wasn't meant for you. She wasn't talking to you. She didn't even know you were in her chat, and then went on the video and said that they needed to have a dialogue. No, You all don't need to have a dialogue because she knew exactly what she wanted to say and she said it. You're not going to be able to change her mind on how she feels about what she's passionate about. You can't do it. And that's hard to do. Child, Miss Brooklyn, listen. Had you been in that live last night, you'd have been like, what? And at that time, I hadn't listened to Pretty Ricky Fontaine's video. As soon as Kwani got to talking, I said, okay, let me stop listening to this bullcrap. Let me go over here and listen to what actually happened. And I'm listening to it, and I'm like, that is not how that went. You are big mad about something that didn't even concern you. Now you've taken to your life to go over here and spread all this rhetoric that was wrong. All of it was wrong. I said, and then you got Tracy up in there talking about, oh, she's weird anyway. What's weird about her? Right. Oh, it was so selective that she only heard just that little bit and went and made a whole ranting video about it. I said, okay, whatever. I said, now I'm sitting up here and getting mad about stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with me. But after listening to Pretty Rick, I'm like, you know what? That made absolutely no sense. None whatsoever. And then she went in private because I wanted to go back and make sure that, and compare the two videos. As soon as I get back over to her channel, now she done made her video private. Girl, okay. I do know that I heard what I heard, and all that you were given was unwarranted. It was unwarranted. Mm-mm-mm. Uh-oh. I hear my little princess in there. She busting about something, child. She's 3, but trust and believe me when I tell you she runs this entire house. And I had the nerve enough not to take her to K3 today. Mm. It's time for me to go in here and entertain her. I'll probably take her. Let's see. It's still early, but let's go. Let's go and get our. What are you doing? Putting the candy in the trash. Why do you have candy this early?
Because God can't get it. He's good. He's got no one. He's got 2 on him. He's got all.
All of it? Oh, wow. Okay. Love you. Okay, guys. Hmm?
I can't find a remote at Jamie.
You can't find the remote? I'll find it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm coming. I'll be right there.
That's one. That's what your hair is. That's your hair?
It is. Shh. Daddy's asleep. Okay. Okay, guys. Princess has spoken. Let me go and entertain. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to get up and do what I need to do. And I will see you guys in the next video.